Hey, Chris, thanks for meeting. I see your Movember mustache is coming along nicely. How are you?
Hi, Steve. Look, thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk with you about cybersecurity from the CPA world. Yes, it's the 1st of December, so what you're seeing here is 31 days of Movember growth, and that I've been doing that for about 10 or 11 years now, for personal reasons as well as others. And I actually got a compliment yesterday. I went to a social function of cybersecurity people, and one of them said, "You should keep that. It suits you." Maybe that's because I'm getting a bit old.
You look looking sharp and a good cause. So always good to get together and sync up. Two objectives for today. One, help people with accounting and business backgrounds like us break into cybersecurity. Two, I got to get your thoughts on this article. I emailed you, Rise of the Cyber CPA. When I see that headline, I mean, I think of your face flashes into my subconscious. So I want to know what you think about it. To give a little context on how we met up, like you're a pioneer in starting as a chartered accountant, getting into IT audit and getting into cyber. You've been a partner at two accounting firms, and then you went into cybersecurity and industry as a cyber executive. You've got the chartered accounting designation from New Zealand, the CISA, the CISSP, and I know you're a big fan of starting up, and you've helped me quite a bit just by knowing you existed before we even met, right? I had to take the leap of faith. Am I going to come from finance into GRC? And not even having met you, knowing you're on the other side, like here's a person who's done it, helped me make the transition. And I thought by publishing this online, it could help more people. So, man, I saw the headline, "Rise of the Cyber CPA." You know, that's you, okay? And guess what? It's not news to you. It's something you've been doing over the course of your career. But I'm just dying to ask you, have you seen the article and what'd you think about it?
Have seen the article and took a read of it this week, and it's an interesting article. Certainly speaks to the fact that accountants and CPAs are moving into that this great, exciting, maybe sometimes awesome uh, industry, and that so as you said, there's a number of different points of view in the article, which is I think they've got valid points to make on it, and no, it's certainly a move, and given that there's demand for more people in cybersecurity in general, you've got to hope that this is a good thing.
Yeah. So, I think the article is a little clickbaity, a little bit of tension in the context of, hey, there's this trend of accountants getting into cybersecurity, and maybe that's good, but oh, hang on a sec, checkbox compliance. I have some concerns about that. Um, I see it as a good thing for one key reason that you just brought up of encouraging more new entrants in the needed shortage of skills to protect our economy and national security. What are your thoughts on what are some good ways to encourage accountants to help fill that void?
I think, as you said, the fact that you and I and others have done it, and yeah, literally last night I attended a little Christmas function for the people that paved the path before me. Okay, so I'm not, in fact, the pioneer. There were other people, literally, people that are 5 or 10 years older than me that I've become good friends with, but they were the mentors to me in the 80s to say, dive in from auditing to IT auditing to information security. Okay. So it's actually quite timely that we're having this conversation literally after the day that we had what's called the Security Irregulars Christmas party. And it's basically people that have done this path. And some of them are CPAs, but some of them worked for the accounting firms in the 70s and 80s doing IT auditing and information security related work. And so the path is there. What can we say to people thinking about it? Look, you can choose to stay in the accounting world and the finance world, but become IT, digital, and cybersecurity and IT controls literate enough to discharge your role as the steward of the assets of the company if you're a CFO or a CPA. Or you can go further along that continuum and dive right into it like you and I have and become a cybersecurity and IT risk professional. It's a journey of learning. I think if you want to keep going in that area, understand that technology is relentless in its change, and so is cybersecurity, not only technologically, but in terms of the environment within which you're playing the game. And so I think if you want to go down the path big time, I think you've got to be prepared to have, you've got to say, do I actually have a learning temperament? Am I prepared to? And do I have professional humility? And am I comfortable with that? Because I know you and I have had many conversations where the technocrats in the meetings have gone way past our ability to understand it. And you've just got to be comfortable to say, look, I don't understand. Can you wind that back? Or let me take some notes and then go and do the learning.
That's a good one. And it's safe to do so, right? I'm just a dumb bean counter. It's okay to do so.
There's nothing wrong with saying, I don't understand what's been going on. Because the truth is, and I learnt this from my math teacher back at high school, if you're in a meeting and you don't understand what's going on, more than half the other people in the room probably don't either. They just don't have the bravery to say, I don't understand. So you've got to have some humility, got to have a little bit of bravery to go into it because it is new.
That's a real hedgehog strategic skill. Like I think I was 4 years into FP&A, and my colleagues like, Steve, you got to stop saying you're new. You've been here for 4 years. But I did do that again in security. And I think in GRC, when you meet with subject matter experts and they have very deep knowledge on some very intimidating technical topics, being comfortable saying, you know what, I didn't get that. Can you play that again? I think is something helpful to do what we do. I think also you hit on this continuous learning mindset. So that's something that's spoken about both on the accounting side, where CPAs in Ontario are getting drones pilot licenses to count inventory with drones. And on the information security side, it's an innovation race between attackers and defenders, and you've got to continue learning. So maybe if you enjoy continuous learning to get the financial domains down, you can move over here and continue that in a pretty interesting space.
Yeah.
So let's hit the article. It kind of talks about, on the pro side, accountants are good at getting budget and talking the language of business. And certainly anyone in cyber would be happy to, get budget and talk the language of business, because they keep being told, how are you enabling the business? Businesses exist, to make a profit, and not to buy blinky lights. So how are you helping protect our customers and us? And then on the contrarian side, it's like, well, but hang on a sec. What's an accountant know about protecting an information system and checkbox compliance? And, not a new topic, but what are your thoughts on the pros and cons, and what the takeaway should be from this article to people on both sides?
Yeah, well, as we said, the business case model is something that accountants and financial people and CPAs understand. And so you're not only bringing the ability to have an objective, fact-based, numbers-based, where possible, business case, which, to senior management and the board is the language that they've learned to speak all the time. And they want it in short 1-page, 2-page summaries. There may be appendices that's got all the backup, but the ability to say, make the simple sort of points. Here are the set of facts about the current state, or the observations about the controls that we do or don't have and their strength. Here's the risks that creates, or the incidents that have occurred because of it. And the auditors can make that wording not dramatic and not over-indexed, and it can be sober. And then here's sets of recommendations, which may then also be a business case for a project. And the financial people understand that this actually not only has to compete with other technology projects, but it's got to compete with other projects or funding for operations across the organization, from revenue, sales, delivery, you name it. And so you're not competing against other IT things. You're competing against the person that comes into the CFO or the board and says, I want to open up a new division in Asia, or we need to have new equipment in our factory. And here's why. Give me new equipment. I can make this stuff for this less cost and sell more to customers. The other thing, though, that it's not only about risk avoidance. Good information security and cybersecurity has two objectives, and I learned this 20 plus years ago from someone else. I'm not smart enough to make this up. One, it's about protecting the assets, and that's a stewardship function. So financial people should understand that, because at the end of the day, even in for-profit and not-for-profit companies, those assets are expressed as numbers on the financial statements, right? So they are the assets of the company. But you're also, the whole thing about cybersecurity and information security is to create digital trust, which enables, trusted digital relationships in the cyberspace world, right? So there's a legitimate path where you say, I'm going to partner with the salespeople and the revenue people and say, you want to be online, you want to be digital, right? You want, even if you're selling books like Amazon, you want to have trust in the order entry and how the customers interact with the website, right? So that doesn't fall apart and be ugly or fail or have a breach, and you're not going to sell books or anything else. So you can, not only say, I need to sell this to manage risk, and that's a good thing, but you can also have conversations with those business people and have a joint business case where you go and say, we need to do this, and to do this properly and either maintain our brand or maintain the critical trust that we have. If trust is important, then we should do it this way.
I think there's two big themes there. Like, one is take a holistic company enterprise view. When you need budget for a cybersecurity initiative or a project, you're competing with marketing and with operations and with other things. And we need to make a decision that's best for the company. And then two is, you're an assurance professional as an accountant, right? We're in the business of trust. And so as Enron happened 2002, where we lost trust in the integrity of the financial systems. And so we've matured our control environment for that type of risk over the past 20 years. And now elevating as a boardroom issue is digital trust in the cybersecurity domain. So bring those skills to the table to partner with the technical folks to achieve those outcomes. So I guess then, we're happy to see this headline. We're happy to have the conversation. Not a new topic. There are some significant skills that accountants can bring to the cyber domain. Any kind of further takeaways from the article in terms of where things are going, about the convergence of cyber and accounting, and what's next, and how do we evolve our careers and get those good outcomes in the best way?
Yeah, one of the topics in that article was about the land grab of CPAs and the AI CPA with the systems and organization controls reports, etc., versus
the SEC, CISA,
CMMC reporting,
yes,
or that. And so, putting aside the fact that with the demand exceeding supply in cyber, there is a great path of useful skills and capabilities that come from accountants and auditors, because they understand, as we said, completeness, authorization, accuracy, management trail, and they understand assurance. And so that's great skills to bring into this. The point around this land grab, I think, is I don't think it's that big a deal. It's a matter of there's plenty, I think, of space for everyone. I think the point that I would make as an accountant that's been an IT audit partner providing SOC 2, system and organization controls reports. Now I've been doing that work since 1987, okay, in different shapes and forms. And what the CPAs bring is the structure of providing assurance over a report on controls for IT or cybersecurity measures in place that others could learn from. And that's not to say that we're the prima donnas and we're perfect and et cetera, but a number of these other frameworks or standards that people are saying, I want to get my company signed off on, the requirements that those standards or frameworks have are not as emphatic or demanding in terms of the audit work required to sign off. And so that doesn't mean that they're wrong, but everyone should understand, if an audit firm goes and spends 1,000 hours auditing your cybersecurity, and then another organization comes in and checks your compliance against CMMC or checks your compliance against, say, the ISO standard. And let's say that they spend 200 hours on that work. Understand that those are different things. I'm not saying that either one is good or bad, but they are different and they are meant for different purposes, and they're providing different levels of assurance. And that's actually probably a good thing.
That's right.
Because maybe you only need a lower level of assurance for certain things.
Well, I think you bring up a good point that SOC 2 isn't a control framework. And, so if you're going to say, I don't like SOC 2 because it doesn't require MFA. And like, duh, everyone needs MFA. Okay, I understand. But I think one of the good things about SOC 2, so first of all, we can get to MFA through the trust services criteria, but it's a bit of a tangent. But more importantly, what you're raising is that the audit standard followed, and you can use any controls you want in SOC 2. You could use the CIS, you could use the NIST 853, right? It's not prescriptive in that regard. But the point is that the third-party auditor is held to a higher standard of this audit framework. And that is something that other professions would benefit from, which is less a conversation of technical skills with having 10,000 hours of breaking IT systems, and more of a conversation about doing good assurance work. That's right. It's an assurance standard that can be applied to all of these if you want. And just as an aside to put in a plug, there's also under this AI CPA world, there's actually a SOC for cybersecurity. It has been out for a couple of years. Right. There's a few organizations in North America that are going through a 3-year journey to be ready to sign off on it. So understand it's not a simple one and done tick box thing at all, right? So all of this, I think, is almost like a one early level of maturation of an industry. And my analogy is, I'm a bit of a car guy. 100 years ago in North America, there were 150 car makers. Really? Yep. And if you look at every industry as it's matured over time, there'll always be a large amount of players, and over time it rationalizes down to the high volume players and the low volume, high quality players, right? So you get Toyota, Honda, whatever, Ford, Chev, and over here you get Rolls Royce and Bugatti and Ferrari, right? So that, in one way, if you step back a couple of abstracted points, that's what's going on now, where there's a wave of industry evolution that's occurring, and so you're getting entrants coming in, big, large, competent, not, into this, from CPAs in other worlds and people that are technology coming into cyber, and you name it. And so, yes, there's pros and cons and ups and downs for different players, but to me, this is a good thing, and partly it's a natural evolution. Well, I think we're going to be talking about this easily for the next 10 years as it continues to trend up. Thank you so much for your insights, and I look forward to next time. Look forward to talking to you again, Steve. Have a great December. Hey, you too, man.